Good morning, guitar vacation aficionados. Uh, Wanted to talk about a video I watched on John Cordy's channel. What a great player, by the way. It really stimulated a good discussion and gave me several things to think about, and I really agree with everything he said and his approach, which I'll link the video below. But man, what a great player. You know, I've watched his videos for a long time, and his playing, phrasing, technique, and touch are just awesome. And even just watching on the video I'm referring to, him go through his exercises of playing through the major scale, you really see that tone and touch come into play, and it sounds so much better than just somebody ripping through an exercise without attention to that type of dynamic on the guitar. And I think that's what separates a lot of players from beginners to advanced, is that just that touch that an advanced player gets with the natural dynamics. And he was referring to some material that Martin Miller put out in reference to playing fast, and I think I found the video he was talking about, which, again, Martin Miller, what an awesome player. And I mean, just super talented guy. Have you ever heard him sing? And the videos he's done where his bands have just dead nailed really hard songs to cover, and again, awesome musician. And I'm not speaking from a point where in any shape, form, or fashion I'm a equal to those guys. They're levels above me. It's one of those things. I just want to be a good enough guitar player where I can really appreciate the great playing of others from an informed perspective. But in regards to speed in the discussion, John Cordy was talking about how he's gravitated more toward what he called accuracy, and I think that speaks more to what I'm hearing as his total mastery as he's running through lines of making them sound like he wants them to sound, even at faster speeds, right? So then we get into the discussion of speed, and another thing he said that really resonated with me is he believed that most speed chops for most players, overwhelming majority of players, are developed in those early really teenage years. And I think that was definitely true for me, which, you know, I'm not a super fast player, Again, not on the level of those guys, but I don't know if it has something to do with the malleability, if I just made up a word, of the brain at that young of age. I'm sure that may play a part in it. But it's also because when you're 14, you have the time to sit and woodshed on whatever scales or technical stuff you're working on. And I think at that age you're more fascinated with the guitar gymnastics part of things. So you will sit for hours, and as long as you have your homework done and your parents aren't on your case, that's when you really get those 10,000 hours in that build the muscle memory. And I think at that age you don't place limits on yourself. You just play as fast as you want to play and keep pushing it. So I totally agree with that take. Incidentally, I've never known somebody that started playing later in life to really develop that. And I think I've said this before, but guys that, let's say you start playing in your 30s and you have a job and kids and all that, where is your time to just sit for hours on end every day and really get after the technical aspects of the guitar? If anybody knows somebody that did start playing later in life that was able to achieve a very high level of playing or proficiency, I would be interested in knowing that. And I'm sure there are outliers. There are people that are naturally talented, naturally musically savants that are exceptions to that rule, no doubt. I haven't personally dealt with any. And when it comes to speed on the guitar, or any instrument for that matter, what is that speed for? For 14-year-old me, it was speed for the sake of playing fast and doing stuff I perceived as impressive, that my friends would perceive as impressive, and that would identify me as some kind of hot guitar player, right? So in that case, the speed itself was the end goal, without a whole lot more thought to, or not enough thought to, what I would actually be using that speed for musically. And that's fine, there's the old kind of boomer take that speed doesn't matter and you should just be playing soulful stuff that connects with the listener. And I don't have an argument against that. But I will say personally, because of the music I grew up liking and somewhat the music I listen to now, I still really enjoy some, sure enough, technical guitar playing. Uh, I like shredding, and uh, I'm not listening to all my old uh, shred albums, but uh, you know, I am a big fan of Holdsworth, and if you throw Eric Johnson in that vein, obviously I'm have said many times what a big influence those guys are on me, and you can throw Scott Henderson in there as well. And while they're not definitely not using speed for the sake of speed per se, they are using it as a vehicle to uh, communicate the music that they're communicating at the time. And like, take Scott Henderson, he's a good example. His playing now definitely is less chop oriented than maybe some of his early stuff with early Tribal Tech. You can catch some Scott Henderson and really tell at one time he was doing some Holdsworth influence stuff, and now he's not even, when he does do something that's technically impressive, it's just totally for the musical aspect of the improvisation he's doing at the time. So with that framework, my thought for myself when I do technique practice, which that is a thing I have to constantly practice to maintain and hopefully keep making incremental gains on my technique, is I do not want my technique to be a barrier to executing the musical goal that I'm trying to do. That being said, there's only so fast. There's a limit to how fast I need to play to do that. If I'm trying to play cool stuff over chords, to a greater extent, I'm hopefully playing only as fast as I can comprehend what my phrases are. Otherwise, I'm just playing a pre-cocked lick or exercise, which, truth be told, I think all players have that bag of tricks of pre-cocked stuff that makes its way into their music. But really, the higher function of improvisation should transcend that. And some players are so good that they can comprehend and speak at a blistering pace. Take a player like Michael Brecker. I have trouble comprehending what he's doing as a listener. But it's obviously when you start piecing out the harmonic devices he's using in some of his faster runs, they are very thought out, well, very intentional, I should say. And that's because he's functioning at a level of musicianship that allows him to play at that blistering pace while speaking improvisationally through his instrument what he wants to communicate. And that's, where I am with my own playing. That's what speed is the vehicle I need to execute what I'm trying to say with my instrument at a given time. And, it is a diminishing skill. And that's why technique practice is important. If you are especially if you're still trying to improve. I think if you're a player that reached a certain level of technical proficiency early on and kind of hung out there, I think that's still there. And even if you were to put the instrument down for a extended period, you wouldn't pick it right back up and be at that same level, but it wouldn't take you long to get back there with some steady practice. But when I think about what Mr. Cordy was really his overall message, I totally agree with it. And that's not to say when I went back and watched Martin Miller's take on just speed itself and the brain processes that differ between playing fast and playing slow. What a really informed way of looking at developing and him being able to teach speed and speed going beyond what you can do at this very second. And it goes back to things I've talked about as far as practicing outside your comfort zone. And my practice outside of my comfort zone doesn't involve pushing the limits of speed. I'm trying to improve in a different area, harmonically and phrasing and what my touch of the guitar is. But I still need just the amount of speed to truly execute what I'm trying to say with the instrument. And I think kind of lastly, just talk about a paradox that I've found change as I've gotten older. And it involves playing clean and versus playing with a good amount of distortion. And it's kind of funny where I've ended up with that, because when I was younger, it was like, okay, I put on all this distortion and, I shred as fast as I can. And then, but when the distortion comes off and I have to play it with a clean tone, that's an even truer test. And often I would find that without all the distortion that gives you the compression, and may even cover up some things that when you're clean, you're kind of naked and out there, and it would expose me. But now, when I do technique practice, I'm trying to really nail that touch and feel. And obviously, I'm a heavy user of legato. Since I switched to playing with my fingers, it took away alternate picking. And, you know, that was a really intentional decision on my part. That's the whole video in and of itself on how I came to that place. I grew up playing with a pick and being an alternate picker. So maybe one day I'll make a video of how I ended up being a dude that only uses his fingers. But when I'm doing technique practice, like just for an example, let's say I'm doing legato lines with all the modes of melodic minor at a certain speed. I want those to be clean, sound even with the legato, and have that seamless, pretty legato structure like you hear with Alan Holdsworth, where he's blurring the lines. You don't hear string changes. You don't hear all the technique that's going on behind the closed doors. It just comes out as this beautiful sound, like a saxophone. And I have found now when I practice, it's easier for me to do that with a cleaner sound, because I don't have a bunch of distortion to amplify all of those small idiosyncrasies that really make a difference in how clean you're playing. You know, you see a lot of players use the fret wrap. I think that's what it's called. Whatever. I remember I first saw Guthrie and Govan do it with a hair tie, and now they got the wraps that are made to do, and it takes out all of that unwanted, or a good bit of that unwanted string noise, and makes the playing cleaner. For my own practice, if I gain it up, if I don't do that cleanly, the extra distortion will let me know real quick. And that has always been a kind of unique full circle uh, process to me, how I've gone from young guy shredding that used uh, distortion to mask maybe some weaknesses. And if I tried to play something clean, it would be more difficult, and was frankly a good test to see how proficient I was at what I was doing. And now, full circle, if I'm playing my clean is always relative. I'm never, I always have clean with some hair. I find that doesn't magnify the issues that I'm truly trying to work on, which goes back to what John Cordy said about practicing for accuracy. Um, but when I gain it up, every little squeak where I'm not uh, hitting the note with precision and accuracy is going to come through. So just kind of a unique thing I've recognized and gone through with my own guitar playing. And again, it goes back to a couple things. This discussion, whether it's speed or another aspect of playing, it really revolves around pushing your limits of improvement to get better, and what you have to do that. And what Martin Miller said is you have to play a little bit faster than you're capable of, and it may be sloppy initially, but that is what will push you higher and higher and higher. And that's I think that's true. I agree with that as well. I mean, who am I to disagree with a player that good anyway? But what John Cordy I think what his message was that I got was the speed is not the end game to what he's doing. The speed, whatever speed he got, most of it he got as a teenager. And now he is using speed as the vehicle to communicate the music in the fashion he wants to communicate it. And if you hear the man's playing, it's obvious that he is focusing on the right things to me. Trying to think of anything else that that came up in my own self-assessment when I was thinking about those concepts. In the end, if you're a guitar player, like most of us are, that grew up just wanting to rock out and burn, it's still fun to shred as fast as you can. And I don't think I'll ever not want to have some level of technical proficiency that at least I'm satisfied with for myself, and I'm not satisfied with mine as we stand here, and that's why on my technical exercises, and I'm using technical exercises while also imprinting different melodic devices to make my playing better and more advanced. But you best believe if I've been steadily operating on a certain speed on my metronome, I'm going to bump it up every couple months because I still want to be I still want to be as fast as I can be. And again, is that because my end goal is to play fast? No, I like playing fast, but that's not my end goal. My end goal is for speed not to be an issue when it comes down to executing the music I'm trying to execute. I'll link the video I'm talking about on Mr. Cordy's channel. And if y'all don't watch John Nathan Cordy, just for his guitar playing alone, it's an awesome channel. And he also does some really great discussions about all kinds of gear, and he is able to perform at the level he performs with various setups, and just a really impressive, great player, and one that I admire a lot. I'll link that below, and that's my take on the discussion. And again, qualifying my take as a dude playing guitar in his bedroom, talking about what really good musicians are talking about. And I'm only good enough to appreciate the discussion, not to insert any type of expertise over what they're saying.